What's up, guys? Jason up, New 80s Revolution, down here in the cave for another episode of Wrestling with the Past. I've been looking forward to this one because when I watch 3 episodes and write about them for you guys, I don't watch any more. And I finished this like a week ago, and I can't move on and watch the next batch of shows until I do this batch of shows. So I've been at a wrestling standstill. But I was able to get my fill pretty much for the year by interviewing Magnum TA on the channel. If you have not seen it yet, you must. I did a Zoom chat with Magnum TA, and we went about an hour, and it is surreal. I'll say that. All right, Wrestling with the Past. Another thing that got very popular on the channel, in fact, like 1,200 views, which is like 3 times the normal amount of views of a show that I do, was the Mount Rushmore of 80s wrestling moments. And so I'm going to capitalize on that popularity. And after Wrestling with the Past, after this episode, the next episode you'll see is another Mount Rushmore. We're going to do a Mount Rushmore of 80s WWF matches. So the 4 matches, the 4 most important matches in my 80s wrestling fandom. And we're going to do that for WWF. We're going to do that for NWA as well. We're going to figure out a way to do maybe not the top 4 matches, but maybe the top 4 moments of NWA wrestling as well. And then we're going to probably try to figure out a way to keep going with that, because that seemed to be a popular show. Anyway, let's get into Wrestling with the Past. We are November 24th, 1984. We've got an episode of Championship Wrestling, and the opening match as we approach Thanksgiving 1984, as we approach the end of 1984. We've got Junkyard Dog taking on Mr. X. Now, I think the Mr. X deal was, look, we're going to put anybody under a mask and just call him Mr. X. Because this was not a Mr. X that I've ever seen before. This was a pretty bad enhancement worker under a mask. He was very flippy floppy. Not Young Bucks flippy floppy, just like all over the ring, kind of overselling flippy floppy. Do you need to go out? Why do you come down here and then you bark and whine for me to open the door to let you out? You're interrupting my show because of all your whining. Dogs. This is the era when the Junkyard Dog, after a win, would pull kids into the ring and dance with them. If you remember, I didn't remember, so that was when I saw it. It was a real flashback, a memory boost. The dog would pull some kids in the ring, and they'd do that Junkyard Dog leg dance thing. We have another update on Wendy Richter. Now again, we have not seen Wendy Richter pretty much since she won the world title from Moolah at the beginning of '84. Haven't seen her. Right? They did this huge angle with Captain Lou and Cyndi Lauper and Moolah, and she's gone. No Wendy Richter. But she's coming back. In fact, during the update, it is announced that Wendy Richter will be receiving a very special award. Actually, Wendy Richter, Cyndi Lauper, during the Wendy Richter update, they let us know that in December's Madison Square Garden card, Cyndi Lauper is going to receive a very special award from the WWF. Can you smell it? It's brewing. It's coming. You know it's coming. Greg Valentine takes on Aldo Marino. Aldo Marino is Ricky Santana. No relation to Tito Santana. But you can't possibly have 2 Santanas in the WWF, so we change it from Ricky Santana to Aldo Marino. During the match, this is where, again, Vince McMahon subtly announces Cyndi Lauper is receiving an award at next month's Madison Square Garden card. So they're really pushing this, and it's big. You know it's big. It's coming. It's coming. The U.S. Express take on Terry Gibbs and R.T. Reynolds. So here's our first look at the future Corporal Kirshner in jobber role as R.T. Reynolds. For the first time, and maybe the last time, Mike Rotundo was wearing a silvery, sequined, glittery silver robe to the ring. Never see that again. Paul Orndorff versus Big Joe Murto. Joe Murto is a hulking-looking job guy. Orndorff, beastly as ever. We have a halfway decent Jimmy Snuka and Tonga Kid interview where they are hyping their match against Piper and Orton, or Piper and Orndorff. Then we have Piper's Pit with Aldo Marino. And Piper is hilarious here because he keeps calling Aldo, right? He keeps making fun of the Aldo name, which who wouldn't, right? But this is the Piper's Pit where Roddy introduces his bodyguard, the ace, Cowboy Bob Orton. And so we get to see years of, this. The ace standing behind with the folded arms. And I never quite understood why, Bob Orton, who was just a regular dude, why he was put in the bodyguard role. But whatever, it's beautiful. He doesn't have a cast yet, though. No cast. But, of course, they're making fun of Aldo, so Aldo, jives back. And then that's the opportunity for Piper and Orton to beat the heck out of Aldo Marino. Of course, Aldo, the way to get beat up on Piper's Pit is to make a skirt reference. And, of course, that's what Aldo does. And then he gets trashed by Orton and Piper. If there's a jobber on Piper's Pit, he's going to get beat up. Finally, we end it with Blackjack Mulligan versus Dave Barbie. Again, Dave Barbie looks, like the kind of wrestler that Vince McMahon enjoyed having. This big, hulking power lifter kind of guy. But that's about where it ends for Dave Barbie. No talent. No apparent talent. But a very special championship wrestling episode. And that's going to be the theme that you're going to see for these next 3 shows. And then I'll kind of recap how special this week was. A very special championship wrestling, a very eventful championship wrestling. We get 2 mentions of a very special award going to Cyndi Lauper next month in Madison Square Garden. Huge things are happening. We're going to get a Captain Lou face turn. We're going to get Mr. T's involvement. We're going to get WrestleMania. We're going to get the War to Settle the Score, MTV's involvement, and WrestleMania. And it's all coming just based on this announcement. Cyndi Lauper gets an award next month. We've got the debut of R.T. Reynolds, who will soon, well, not even soon, maybe in a year, become Corporal Kirshner. We've got the introduction of Cowboy Bob Orton as Piper's bodyguard. And we've got nothing else. That's about it. But special. It's a brewing. The next card is MSG 1126, November 26th. What is that, the day after Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving's on the 25th or 24th? I don't know. I don't like Thanksgiving. Madison Square Garden, November 26, 1984. We open with Charlie Fulton versus SD Jones. SD Jones with a headbutt for the Duke. Yes, that's right. The classic finisher, the overly choreographed flippy-floppy finisher of a headbutt. Moondog Spot takes on Jose Luis Rivera. And you can tell when the commentators are a bit bored of these matches, even though I love the Moondogs very, very much, especially Moondog Spot. And I went back and looked a little bit. Moondog Spot was born in like 1952 or so. So old, burly, hairy Moondog Spot was in his early 30s when he was wrestling on TV in 1984. He was barely 32. It's crazy. Anyway, they're bored when they start talking about, what other things besides the match. And in this particular match, they were talking about parts unknown. So you got, come here. So you got Gorilla Monsoon wondering about parts unknown and how can you be from parts unknown and, how do you send your checks, your winning checks to parts unknown. Ridiculous. Moondog Spot wins with a clothesline from the second rope. Actually a great match. Jose Luis Rivera did fine in this match, and I just love Moondog Spot. It's strange to say great match, second match on the card at MSG, but it was fun. I liked it. Salvatore Bellomo. Here's something interesting. Salvatore Bellomo takes on Bobby Heenan. Bobby Heenan, as wrestler, takes on Salvatore Bellomo. And I don't know what was up with this. I don't know why it happened. I don't know. It was not like a short card. Like there weren't, guys doing double duty or anything. I don't know why Bobby Heenan wrestled. But it was weird. It's weird because the whole time I'm thinking Bobby Heenan as a manager is cowardly and runs away and, oversells when he's hit. But as a wrestler, he's not cowardly. He doesn't oversell, and he has a lot of offense. I don't get it. But Bobby Heenan's selling, even for Salvatore Bellomo. The flips over the top turnbuckle, the facials, the reaction when he punches. He has like a full body reaction when he punches, when he gets punched, and his hair shakes and everything. It's so great. We've got Angelo Mosca versus Mr. Fuji. This has got to be one of Mr. Fuji's last matches. It really wasn't that bad of a match, as much as I can't stand Angelo Mosca. It really wasn't that bad of a match. Mr. Fuji just seems to have endless supplies of salt. There's salt everywhere. There's salt in his trunks, multiple bags of salt. He gets caught with salt. The referee's throwing out the salt. Mr. Fuji's going in for another bag of salt. I don't know. I don't know how salt becomes, the most deadly weapon in a wrestling match. Mosca wins by DQ because of the salt. The endless supply of salt. Cowboy Bob Orton versus Swede Hansen. So one thing I noticed, and not to get all political or current or anything, but Swede Hansen brings a Confederate flag with him to the ring. Okay, that's his deal. He's from the South. It's 1984. It doesn't mean as much as it apparently means today. But he's in New York, and he's bringing a Confederate flag into the Madison Square Garden. He's getting cheered. That's kind of the equivalent of like, Bret Hart taking on, I don't know, Jim Neidhart. No, I don't know. Bret Hart taking on like Davey Boy Smith, and the fans are chanting USA. Like, huh? Nobody had a problem with the South as much as the old Yankees did, right? The New Yorkers, and you're bringing the Confederate flag into Madison Square Garden, waving around, and you're getting cheered. I don't get it. Wrestling fans are dumb. Yeah. Orton wins with the bouncing splash. I guess this is prior to the superplex. Remember the bouncing splash? He has the guy in the corner, and he gets on the second rope, holds onto the top rope, bounces a few times, and then lunges himself off for the splash. I'm going to let the dog out now. Okay, we're back. Now we have some electricity. Now we have the Tonga Kid versus Roddy Piper. Wow. The electricity in Madison Square Garden, the fan involvement, the hot crowd, never better than this match. The anticipation of this match while they're being introduced into the ring is amazing. We see Jimmy Snuka is seconding Tonga Kid, And for the first time, we see the I Want Piper shirt. And I love that. The I Want Piper. You got Piper, you got Orton, you got Snuka, you got Tonga. What a feeling. And this match, it's hard to describe, but this match, as I was watching it, I was thinking, this is the closest match that is transporting me back to my childhood, feeling-wise. Tonga Kid versus Roddy Piper. I don't like Roddy Piper, but he's so good in this match. He's so good. He does exactly what he was supposed to do with Tonga Kid, putting him over huge, and then getting the sneaky win, the sneaky offense. It's a double DQ. Everybody gets involved, whatever. It was never going to end clean. This match is going to build to so many more matches. So it's just not going to end clean. You want more. You want eventually the Texas Tornado match between all four. Just electric. I can't explain it or describe it enough how much juice is flowing for this match. What a feeling. Now we bring it down after that match. We try to calm everybody down with Barry Windham versus Moondog Rex. Honestly, another great match. Really. A great match between Barry Windham and Moondog Rex. I love the Moondogs. I really do. I think they're a great tag team, and I wish that they had done more in the era that we're watching. Instead of just being job guys, not really job guys, but kind of. I wish they had done more. Tony Atlas versus the Executioner. Again, whoever, I don't know, anybody under the mask. Atlas obviously wins. Rocky Johnson versus Dr. D. David Schultz. And I think this is one of Dr. D's final matches. I think he's gone in December or January after smacking John Stossel around. This is the worst match ever. And Dr. D's matches against stars are starting to stink because there's so much stalling between Johnson and Dr. D. So much stalling. The threats of punches. Dr. D would get in the boxing stance. Rocky Johnson would box, and then Dr. D would hightail it out of there. It felt like 15 minutes of stalling. The match really was just all punches, with the referee getting involved and pushing back Rocky Johnson. That's all it was. So it was like just some really weird referee involvement and just bad between the two of them. And out of nowhere, Dr. D gets the small package for the win. It's like a 12-minute match with, I'd say, 8 minutes of nonsense. 9 minutes of nonsense, really. David Sammartino versus Ken Patera. Actually not that bad. I don't like David Sammartino, but it worked okay with Ken Patera. I thought it was a fine match. I thought it was a good match. David wins by DQ in this one. Then we've got Tito versus Greg as the main event. And as I'm watching it, I'm thinking, this is the best MSG card I've ever seen. So far. From top to bottom, start to finish, the best MSG card I've ever seen. With Mosca and Fuji on it. With, both Moondogs, Jose Luis Rivera, Charlie Fulton. It was the best MSG card I've ever seen because of the electricity and because it felt like I captured a feeling. It felt like I had just stumbled across MSG late Saturday night in 1984. That's the feeling I got watching this card. I mean it. Go watch the card. It's November 1984, Madison Square Garden. Then we got Tito and Greg on top. And again, wow, what a feeling. What an electric feeling. The crowd is irate. And irate, excited. I mean, they're not angry. This card is the best. And not only do we get the main event, but the main event goes to a draw. And I know everybody's like, oh, a draw. But it works. It works because they're killing each other. And Tito is killing Greg at the end, and he wants the belt back, but we get not just a time limit draw, but the curfew draw. The New York City curfew goes to a draw. What a great card. And again, I was thinking, where is Hogan? Because we haven't seen Hogan in a little bit. Maybe this whole month we haven't seen him. I think this is when he's in Japan. I assume this is when he's in Japan, because he's not part of these big cards right now. Incredible, incredible Madison Square Garden card. November 1984. I'll say it now. The best Madison Square Garden card I've seen so far. And it'll be hard to beat this one. All right, we close off this run with a TNT episode from after Thanksgiving, November 27th, 1984. This is an odd TNT. This is a very strange TNT. We start off with Tony Atlas showing off his pencil drawings. So Tony Atlas is a guest, and apparently he's also an artist, and he shows off some pretty good drawings, pencil drawings. And then, and some of the drawings are of Supergirl, Conan, Mr. T. This is all Tony Atlas drawing, and they're pretty good. Then, as usual, we go to a match with Tony Atlas. He takes on Gino Carabello, who is just a name. That is such an 80s job guy name, Gino Carabello. You'll see so much of Gino Carabello in 84, 85. Then we have Vince and Tony Atlas standing around, and Vince asks for a bodybuilding performance from Tony Atlas. And so they play a little, 80s cheeseball music, and Tony Atlas is doing his bodybuilding thing. And the one thing that I noticed about this is the incredible amount of back acne on Tony Atlas, which obviously only means one thing. The needles are definitely entering the skin and veins of Tony Atlas on the regular. But it's 1984, and I think Lord Alfred Hayes was on the juice back then. Then out comes Paul Orndorff, and he's upset. So he just walks out onto the set. And what's interesting is he's got a suit on, but over the suit is the Paul Orndorff robe. So I don't know what was going on there, but he's angry and he's yelling at Tony Atlas, you've got a good body, I got a good body, blah, blah, blah. So they're not happy with each other. And they're just kind of John, and Tony Atlas is like, I don't know, Vince, whatever, Okay. Then we get a Paul Orndorff versus Rick McGraw match. Now, here's what I've been noticing a lot of late. The match is fine. And there's a little bit of there seemed to be maybe a little bit of a rough pile driver at the end. And something that I've been noticing so much, even in today's wrestling, and then going back and watching it so carefully, I see it back then too. The head rub. Okay, and I've learned that the head rub means I'm sorry or good match or whatever. But Orndorff hits McGraw with the pile driver, gets the pin, and then rubs his head ever so. It's not hidden. It's out there on the camera, but he kind of rubs his head. I love seeing that. I love seeing little stuff like that, because in my mind, Paul Orndorff is like a real fighter who's beating up guys for real in the ring. That's what it looks like to me. And then you just see this little head rub. Again, I'm sorry, or good match, or that might have been a little rough, or whatever. I love it. And I've even seen it on AEW. Like I saw Sammy Guevara do it to somebody. Andrade, Idolo there, Ric Flair's daughter's husband. Gave him like a little rub, and I love seeing that. I think that's so cool. Anyway, what do we got? We got okay. So then after that match, Tony Atlas draws and paints Paula. So we go to another portion of the stage, and we see Atlas working away on his canvas, and it's a Paula drawing. So it's Paul Orndorff dressed up as a woman with a purse and really over-the-top caricature kind of thing. Well, of course, Paul Orndorff comes out and is mad and attacks the picture. He beats up the picture of Paula, and Tony Atlas is just standing there. You know, he's just standing there. And and then we go to another commercial. And then we come back. And in true TNT fashion, we're at a different set. We've got a stage with a curtain. We've got tables set up. And everybody's at a table. And Vince McMahon is sitting with Renee Goulet. And they're welcoming you to Cafe Renee. Okay, we're at Cafe Renee. Everybody's drinking wine. Renee Goulet's legit wife is at the table. And they're going to have an entertaining show on the stage. So we get dancers. They announce, and this is the whole show. They get, you know, there's like 4 girls dancing. So they dance for like 4 minutes. And then they go to a break, and then they come back, and there's a magician on the stage. So now the magician is performing at Cafe Renee. And the magician's actually fantastic. There's some really cool, like, basic magic going on. Then they need an assistant from the crowd, so they call up Alfred Hayes. And Alfred Hayes completely ruins the skit by not doing what the magician's telling him, and by ad-libbing and adding his stupid jokes. And I think Lord Alfred was kind of a germaphobe, because at one point, part of the trick was to drink a little cup of water, and Alfred sips it, and then the magician is like, all right, go ahead, finish it. And Alfred's like, no, I think that's enough. I don't want any more water. And the magician's like, and then, you know, they're like, come on, Alfred, you goof. So this goes on for a while. Okay, then we come back, and they're back at the desk. Cafe Renee apparently is closed. And we've got Rocky Johnson versus Moondog Spot from the Netherlands. Wow, from the Netherlands, from the Meadowlands. You know, not my favorite Moondog Spot match. I don't like Rocky Johnson matches. I think they're boring, and I don't enjoy them. So anything that Rocky Johnson's in, I'm not going to enjoy. And I've just learned that. I've learned that over the last couple of months in 1984. Then we have the Spoiler. We have not seen the Spoiler in a while. The Spoiler is a guest. He comes out, and he's pretty cool, and he talks about, you know, why he breaks the rules. And it's actually not a bad little interview. Vince McMahon is getting extremely angry at the Spoiler for cheating and for bragging about cheating. And you know, but you have the talent. Why would you cheat? And then the Spoiler's like, because I can, you know, kind of deal. It was great. And then they do Spoiler versus Jobber, no big deal. And then we get the challenge. Paul Orndorff challenges Tony Atlas to a pose down. So we go back to Cafe Renee. All of the guys are still sitting at the table. Renee Goulet, his wife, probably some other agent guy, backstage, cameraman, whoever. They're just filling the tables. McMahon's there. Alfred Hayes is there. And so Atlas, they play the cheese ball music again. Atlas is up on stage. He's posing down. He gets like a, 30-second pose down. Then Paul Orndorff comes out and he does the pose. And you can tell the difference between the bodybuilder Atlas and then Paul Orndorff, who's just in great shape. Their bodies are completely different. At this point, Orndorff's arm is only atrophying a little bit. You can see a little bit of difference in the biceps. But obviously, Atlas has the better body. So what happens with these events? Do they end clean? Do they ever end clean? No. Orndorff attacks Atlas. They really a good brawl, like a great brawl. The tables are knocked over. And this is when you see, like, you always see little glimpses of the, like, 90s, 2000s Mr. McMahon character. You see a little bit back then because McMahon is mad and he's trying to separate Atlas and Orndorff, and he's just got that McMahon angry face and that deep angry dad voice, like, come on, cut it out, you know, that kind of deal. So you get to see, that's pretty cool. But the best part of that is they usher Orndorff off stage, and as the camera is cutting out, you hear Tony Atlas go, oh, nincompoop. So Tony Atlas is so angry at Paul Orndorff that he calls him a nincompoop. You know, I just giggled. I loved it. And I remember it. I remember it from a kid. That's it. That's the show ending. That's TNT. They come back and they're just, okay, everybody, that's it. Thank you very much. Whew. Let me tell you. This was my favorite week so far. This was such a good week. The TNT show is okay. It's not as good as it usually is, but it's good for different reasons. The nincompoop, the Cafe Renee, Lord Alfred Hayes ruining the magic show, and the MSG card. I can't say it again. Go watch it. November 1984, Madison Square Garden. Maybe I'll put it up on this channel. I won't get monetized for it, and I don't know if I'd get in trouble for it. People have MSG shows all the time. I just don't want to get like copyrighted and then punished for putting up an MSG show. I won't, like I said, I won't be able to monetize it, but you can find it. Just Google, November, or just put it in YouTube, November 1984 MSG. There might be a full card out there. All right, that's all. What a great week. What a big week. Big week. And big things to come. I'm looking forward. This is why I wanted to do this, so I could jump in tonight and start watching the rest. Wrestling with Pass. All right, we'll see you next time. Good night now.